Einar was expecting a lot when he went to Rhymespire. Bandits, collapsed tunnels, cave bears, but he wasn't expecting this. Standing in a large chamber in the spire, he breathed heavy as he stared down the strange creature before him that he had been trading blows with. Salamander-like, its skin a deep blue, radiating frost from its pores. Whatever this creature was, it seemed to have taken up a residence here in the time the spire was abandoned, and it was very territorial. The salamander bellowed before charging at him again. Einar rolled to the side, stabbing at its legs as it passed. The strikes found their mark as the creature stumbled, its leg giving. Einar lunged forward, plunging his trident into its side. The salamander let out a cry of pain as it writhed on the ground. He grunted as he drove the prongs deeper, his hand becoming numb, frost slowly growing up his arm. With a final twist of the trident, the creature dropped limp in place. Einar sighed, pulling his trident free, cradling his nearly frostbitten hand and taking a few steps back from the body of the freezing cold creature. He bowed his head and said a quick prayer for the salamander, urging it to find peace in death before he turned to go. He had hardly made it back to the mouth of the tunnel before he heard a strained voice on the wind.
Get down.
Einar hit the floor, and just in time as a massive chunk of ice and rhinestone came hurtling through the passageway, smashing into the wall with an echoing boom. Rolling over, he saw the salamander on its feet where it had once been laying, blue blood pooling in its mouth and dripping from its wounds. It let out another howl before frost began to build up around its neck. Its teeth became icicles as snow swirled around it, this whitish-blue ball of energy building at the back of its throat. Shit, Einar thought, barely having time to scramble to his feet and dive towards the side as a blast of frost and ice filled the tunnel. He cried out as it enveloped his legs, coating them in ice, immediate pain overtaking the afflicted areas. The creature began to slink up the now frozen tunnel towards him. He looked around. His trident hadn't been blown free. He instead pulled out his dagger and began to hack at the ice enveloping his lower body. The salamander was luckily still slow from its injuries, but it would be fast enough to reach him before he broke out of the ice. He needed more time. Extending his hand, Einar channeled his magic, allowing the confusion of the souls who would not accept death flow over the creature. It shook its head as a daze overtook it. The salamander began to stumble and crash into walls, Einar's confusion spell taking hold over it. He turned back to his work as it continued to make slowed progress towards him. Almost there, he thought, breaking one leg free. The creature, now right on top of him, raised a massive, clawed foot to bring down. He shifted his upper body to the side as it slammed down at the spot where he was. The confusion still in place, the huge salamander veered off balance, crashing into the wall next to him just as Einar got his last leg free. He pushed himself up, his lower half numb. He tried to dodge the lumbering tail that came swiping at him, but his legs refused to move fast, and it caught him right in the stomach. He went flying, hitting the other side of the tunnel hard, his vision swimming. The creature shook its head as the last of the confusion wore off, and charged at him, its fangs bared. He managed to narrowly get his arm up in time to block its bite, the teeth sinking deep into his forearm. He cried in pain as frost immediately began to envelop the area its teeth sunk into him. It began to shake him wildly, eventually flinging him further down the tunnel where he came to a rolling stop, sprawled on the ground.
The throat. Hit it when it's charging.
The strained voice came again. The salamander turned to him, frost beginning to build up in its neck again. Einar groaned, pushing himself to his feet. The ice began to build up around its teeth as a ball of white energy coalesced in its throat. He extended his hand forward, calling the energy of the spiritual to him and concentrating it into a small ball between his fingers. Please work, he thought, before shooting the magic forwards towards the creature. It contacted the growing energy in the back of its throat just as it was pulling its head back to release the frost breath. There was a silent flash before an echoing boom filled the tunnel, briefly blinding Einar. When his vision returned, the giant corpse of the salamander lay on the ground ahead of him, everything above its shoulders completely blown apart in a mangled mess of blue blood and frost. Einar breathed a sigh of relief, dropping to his knees and examining his arm for the first time since he used it to block the bite. It was a mangled mess. covered in frozen blood and exposed broken bones where the flesh was ripped away. The cleric's gonna have a field day with this one, he thought as he began to get to work wrapping the arm and creating a makeshift sling so he could begin to make his way back to Frostwind. He paused by the body on his way out, saying another final prayer for the salamander, before thanking the spirits that helped him this day, and making his way out of Rhymespire. 2 months later, Einar, Jarl of Shattershore, sat in his keep listening to reports from Vidar over trade deals and the recovering economy. It had taken some time to put together the deals and come up with the funding to jumpstart the flow of rhymestone back into the economy. But it had been worth the effort. With the unique stone back in circulation, it had once again made the Shattershore a trading powerhouse, putting its economy, and recovery, back on track to the old glory days. This, of course, was satisfactory to the Hernir gods, and upon delivery of his report, he had received the blessing and charge of Sernir, god of storms, to become the Jarl of Shattershore. Einar wished Reyna could have been here to see it, so he could kiss her, hold her tight, and celebrate. But he knew he would see her again. She was stronger than him, after all. And besides, there was no time to celebrate. The easy part was out of the way, and now the real work began.